Hello everybody, Muttley here, and welcome to my highlights from the penultimate round of the TASCAR series. As you can see, starting 10th for this one. My teammate finally, really properly, genuinely getting the better of me up in 6th. Like I said in a fair few videos that he's been quicker than me in general, and it hasn't really shown it in the results, but this race, or at least in the qualifying, he has been. So we're on the outside there, into turn 1, and annoying little bit of contact, and 10th turns into 14th. That is actually the guy that I had that bit of contact with, so I don't know, he must have had a little bit of contact with someone else later on up the S's, and I'm immediately back up into 13th. It's typically annoying really, because this was actually a restart. There was on the first attempt at starting the race, there was a massive accident coming up the S's, but I'd had a clean start and got up to 7th. Another restart, I ended up dropping to 14th, so it's just one of those things, unfortunately. But yeah, now we're going to have a bit of fun trying to get back up the 3 positions to my starting place, and then see what we can do from there, if we can at all, really. We're still on board now for the first lap. It's given me a good amount of time to ramble on the exit of what I think should be called the ankle, because we have the toe and the heel, so I think that left-hander should be the ankle. It probably has a proper name, but I don't know it, so I'm going to call it the ankle. And on the exit of that corner, we managed to get a good run on someone and up the inside of the toe, which is the proper name for that corner. Yeah, nice clean move. And then around the heel, once again, we're going to be looking around the outside, but this time to no avail. It is very, very congested in front of me though. So 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th, and then 13th and 14th, you can see in my mirrors as well, aren't exactly a long way behind. It's very feisty through the third to last corner. Penultimate corner now, the 13's a little bit tight really on his line. I think he touched the grass on the inside, but it didn't really hurt him too much. Around the final corner though, and I think all 3 of them seem to be compromising each other's lines, because look at this run. I've even got a run on 9th and 10th, but just a tiny little bit of a back off there. I don't really fancy making it 3 wide into turn 1, especially when it turns out to be a very good call. Those 2 make contact, and I do end up making 3 positions in 2 corners, and then look in the mirror, there's even more contact behind me between those guys, so that is now a fairly comfortable 9th place for me after the opening lap and a little bit. So we're going to jump onto lap 7 now. The gap behind me has not really changed too much to the car immediately behind me, but it's not like the whole group of them are all still fighting just back there. They do seem to have spread out a little bit, and the group in front of me very much fighting hard, which is, as you can see on the screen, it's allowed me to catch right up in the number 70 there on the inside. Maybe look at going around the outside. Can we even now follow the 73 on the inside, see if we can get past what number's that guy on the right there, the 51. Maybe we can, because now on the inside for the penultimate corner, I do exactly what I said the other car shouldn't have done, and touch the grass, end up forcing the 51 out wide, and of course he gets me back initially, but a very compromised line, and that's another move made through the final corner effectively, although it sort of did start a little bit earlier. Lap 8 now, following the cars behind are battling. You can see they're a long way back, but I outbrake myself. Well, I don't know if I'd outbrake myself particularly. I think I would have still made the corner, but it's a mistake from me, because I braked too late and nudged the other guy off track, and then it was a bit close because I didn't realise the other 2 were coming, I think, side by side flat out towards us, so I tried to dive out of the way of those guys as well, and that would end up being a massive moment in this race really, because I mean, I've had another go at the number 70 there through the toe. And that was another thing. He seemed to be going wide, and I could take that. He's going for the wide line, you get a good exit, but I was firing it up the inside and trying to distract his run basically whenever I could. But yeah, that incident that I had when I went into the back of him, because the 2 cars ahead of us are now ahead of us, they were, before the incident, a fair bit behind. And that's now going to mean that all 4 of us are going to be embroiled in quite a race-long battle, really. And we're going to get stuck right in, as I mentioned it. Another good run out the last corner, up the inside, down into turn 1. Can I make it stick? We've got the inside line, so I should hope so. Yeah, there you go. He's not even fighting it around the outside on the exit. But yeah, what I was trying to say was, I think me and the 70 probably could have maintained the gap and maybe fought amongst ourselves a little bit, but the 2 cars ahead, these 2 that you can see on screen, I don't think they would have necessarily come back and fought myself and the 70 if we hadn't had that incident. Very nearly another incident for me there, again, while I was rambling. I was checking my tyres and fuel, because it's a very tight, very narrow pit window for the one-stop strategy around here. So I was flicking through my HUD and checking, see where my stats were at, and nearly outbraked myself again and piled into, well, both cars ahead of me really. Fortunately, I didn't just about manage to avoid them, although that did allow the 70 to get right back up onto my bumper. The two cars ahead though, I mean, they're fighting just as hard as any two cars would, I suppose. I don't know what that sentence was, but they're fighting hard and I'm still trying to hold up to 70. I think you made a little bit of a mistake out of the ankle there. And what I'm trying to say is it's all congested. That's all I've been, the last 3 minutes at least, I've been trying to talk about battles and who's where and whatnot. It's quite a lot going on. That's the very long and short of it. Or the very, yeah, you know what I mean. Long story short, that's the term. Probably should have watched this back at least once before doing the commentary. It's worse than not even having a script. And I'll tell you what, that is a fantastic looking effort of a move from the 70 round the outside of the heel. He gets to the inside for the third to last corner. Is he going to make it stick? I think he is, you know, especially if I touch a wheel on the curbing there. And obviously it's going to hinder my exit. So it is now halfway through the race. I did say it was going to be a one-stop. Another check of me fuel and tyres. And unsurprisingly, most people came into the pits on this lap, although one car didn't. That was the number 51. So yes, 3 of the 4 cars in the 4-car battle came into the pits. And now we're coming out of the pits. And now we need to wait a lap and see where the 51 feeds back in. So here we go then, on to the end of the next lap. And I mean, we're not even just looking to see where the 51 is, because once again, I've had a fantastic run around the final corner. You might be sensing this is a bit of a theme in this race. This time I put myself to the outside for turn 1, but being slightly ahead towards the corner, I just about was too wide through the first part of the S's. I was just about managed to get back into single file by the time we hit the second part. But yeah, that was quite a good move. I'm quite happy with that one. Very nice indeed. So on to lap 20 then. I tell you what, I mentioned about seeing where the 51 came out. I've got no idea, because is that him in the mirror in the distance? I might be absolutely seeing things. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I've had a good run out the final corner, up the inside into turn 1. There was a tiny bit of contact this time with the 35 car. That's crikey. That's a blast from the past. That's the guy we went off with at turn 1 into the first lap, and we've made contact again, going up the S's. And that's a dodgy rejoin. There's a car coming fast, and I've just managed to get out of the way. And there he goes. Oh, there's the 51. So he must have had maybe he ran out of fuel or something at the last corner and dropped back a bit. But yeah, not great having a bit of contact with the 35 car there. Obviously dropping us both 2 positions, and it's still the same 4 cars that I was talking about earlier. You've got the 35 behind me, the 51 right in front of me, and it's still the 70 just up the road that if any of us breaks free we would be chasing down. But that's looking like not particularly likely with just 12 laps to go now, 2/3 of the way through the race pretty much. Although I've got a good run out the final corner, put myself to the inside for turn 1, and I've done him on the brakes before we even got to the apex there, and the car behind the 35 looked like he was trying to have a go as well. The 51 goes off track. I think the 35 might have slowed down for him a little bit there. Certainly seemed to drop back in the mirrors, but I'm of course talking nonsense once again, because there's the 70 and I am having a go, because I have managed to catch him up once I broke free from the 2 fighting behind me. And you can see on the feet meter on the left hand side just how far they are back. That is how much I've dropped them by, and very cautious on the brakes into that corner, into the hill there. Don't want to be running into the back of him again in this race. And I don't know if I've necessarily mentioned it, but as we go up the inside for the 3rd to last corner, we are battling over 7th place. I'm not quite sure how that's happened. I haven't really been keeping track of the positions, just my relative gaps to the 3 cars that I keep mentioning. Yeah, that's all that point was. I led myself to try and continue a sentence that I didn't know how to finish. So, yay me. We're on the penultimate lap now then, all the way on to lap 23. So you saw me have a go a couple of laps ago. After that I dropped back a little bit. A little bit of an insider story here. I realised that my battery was starting to run low on my controller, and I've got a play and charge kit, so I was trying to plug in while going down the straights, and that led me to overshooting a couple of braking zones because I didn't quite get my hands back on the controller properly. So that's maybe a little bit of the reason that I dropped back a bit. But yeah, it was not like, oh yeah, I was going to get past him, but no, I had a controller difficulty. It's not like that at all. It's just, just explaining why I may have lost a little bit of pace. I've been rambling again, and the previous clip was, I think the 70 made a little bit of a mistake, and I was like, oh yeah, I can capitalise on this, and then I ran wide out of the ankle. So yeah, not exactly the best way to capitalise on somebody else's mistake when you make your own mistake immediately afterwards. But we are just watching the final lap play out now. You might have seen earlier this lap that the 70% tyre wear thing popped up, so I've not exactly got a massive amount of confidence in my car. I did get a little bit close through the toe corner, but I did mention earlier in this video that the 70 was always taking that wider entry and allowing me to try and put him off by attacking the apex a bit more. I don't think it ever really worked. If it did, you would have seen it in this video, and I don't think we've seen it in this video. So yeah, it wasn't even particularly close at the end of the race there. Again, you can see 1% fuel as we cross the line. It really was a tight one stop, this one. But yeah, very happy with 8th place. I've moved up from a qualifying position. Watkins Glen has traditionally been one of my worst tracks, so even just to get into A lobby in qualifying I was happy with. 10th was well above expectations, and to move up in the race as well, cannot complain. Something else I can't complain about is the standings. 3rd for me, 4th for Assassin, and Assassin did very well in this race. You didn't see him at all because he was just gone up the road. And in the teams, it's getting very, very exciting. We've got a 44-point lead going into the final race. Oh, that one will be out in a couple of days. So I'll see you then. Goodbye.